gear so I can actually see what's going on. How can I pop out the chat? Is it working? Is it working? Apparently I'm getting some network issues. That's not cool. So there we go. Got my chat room. How can I pop out this chat? Yeah, well, I don't know how it works. So basically, what I'm gonna do is just get things set up. Now there's this up and coming build that I'm gonna start working on. I'm gonna start working on and releasing videos at the same time. It involves this lovely walnut top that I've had for 7 years now, and I finally get to use it, so that's fun. So to start with, I am actually gonna be pouring in some resin to fill up those knots. And I'm filming the video at the same time, so anybody watching this stream will be privy to the video even before it comes out. All right, so gotta fill these up, and I'm gonna be using some resin, epoxy resin, however you want to call it, to fill those up. I'm gonna be using some ebony dust as well in combination, so I can get it nice and black. Now this is gonna be the underside, so of course if I were just to pour straight on there, it will pour all the way through. So I'm gonna use some aluminum tape to seal up the voids from the underside. Really burnishing it down so I don't get any leaks. And yes, removing this tape will be a royal pain, but I can use a scraper to get it off fairly easy. There we go. Burnish that all down, all the way around the cavity. Hopefully it doesn't come through there. Might need to add a little bit there. Just in case. So yeah, those of you watching the stream, I'm gonna start off today by just pouring in the resin, and then we're gonna get to removing the fretboard off of the base. All right, so that's all clogged up. I have a tray so that if I do have any spillage through, it'll go onto the tray instead of all over my workbench. All right, now the ratio, or the mix ratio of these, I actually need to put on my glasses so I can see the chat. I can see some of it from over here. Yeah, so the mix ratio of this resin is 2 to 1. 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener. And I don't need much to actually get this done. So I have plenty. So I'm gonna mix mix it in here. And it's very important to make sure that you get every last piece, every last part, even all the drops out of there, like so. I'm going to mix the hardener in the other one, or pour the hardener, I should say. Some epoxy stuck onto the bottom here. To remove that, just so I don't get any parts of old epoxy in there. Aha. Bin that. Yeah. There's the hardener. Close that up. Then mix. And you can see the viscosity of this stuff change as you're mixing it. Put in ebony dust. You could easily put in more. I think I might need to actually make more of this stuff. So I'm not gonna waste all my ebony just yet. Alright. Now I'm gonna get a nice close-up of this. And here we go. Now I could just pour it in, but I don't want to miss and waste epoxy, so I'm just kind of dabbing in. Now just to make sure I don't see any leaks on the other side. That's always a positive thing. And the other one. Now seeing as this is like, this was already pretty dry, the piece of wood before I salvaged it, but it's been drying for 7 years, so it is bone dry, so it might even suck up some of this moisture from the epoxy here. All right. Little taps. Just to make sure that if there's any air in there, getting rid of that. nothing's leaking through. It's always positive. Need a little bit more there. Here I was worried that I didn't have enough of this stuff, but it looks like I have too much. Important thing to note that epoxy does dry and then shrink as it does so. So while it looks like I have heaps of it, it still might be that I might need to add more. But as it currently stands, I think it's looking pretty good. Now, issue is I need to think of what to do with the excess epoxy that I've made. I am at a loss. Let's go have a look at my wood store here. If we can find anything worth epoxying in here. Oh, you haven't seen this now. So yeah, I cleaned everything up and I had, I organized things. So now I have a much more organized wood storage, camera equipment, music equipment, power tools, mask, cables, hard drives, art supplies, guitar parts, right? Guitar parts. But that's not what we're doing right now. Right now we're trying to see if there's anything that I should pour epoxy onto. Now I do have these two fretboards, which have some resin on them already. Whether I should pour more on top is the question. I don't think that I need to actually do that. However, I have this fretboard that I salvaged from Nylon Acoustic that I'm turning into some jewelry. So I could fill those up. And yeah, that could be fun. Let's do that. So, in order to make sure that I don't get, resin all over the place, I need to tape up the edges. Create little walls, as it were. Varnish that down so I don't get any leaks. Now this is something that I do quite often where I make way too much epoxy and I have to figure out what to do with it. more often than not, I always result in just utilizing it for the jewelry that I make. Now, if you don't know already, I have talked about this a little bit on my Instagram, I think, but basically, with building guitars, there's a lot of like smaller pieces of excess wood or pieces like this that I can't use for anything. So I have been utilizing pieces like this to make earrings and stuff like that. Because it's actually a lot of fun. So basically I'm just using the waste products to make products. Or the waste wood in order to make upcycled jewelry things and stuff. Man, Sundays really are somewhat troublesome trying to get a point across. Because my brain doesn't function quite as well as I would like it to. All right, almost created a leak-proof trough, so to speak. A little bit more there, and we should be all set. Like so. All right, now a little bit more here, and then get to this one. I don't believe. There's a little leak that I need to address before it expands any further. How am I going to do this? Tell them the look. No other leaks to speak of. Sweet. Gonna add a little bit more. There. All right. Now for this fretboard, same sort of process. I'm not going to put too much. Just enough to fill those. Now the one thing I wish that I had for all this jewelry stuff would be like a Axminster drum sander, basically, because that way I could sand everything to thickness. Because right now that is the current, thing keeping me from actually making all the jewelry at somewhat of a faster pace. I've designed them in a way where I don't need to use too much time to make them, because the more time I use, the more costly it is. So I'm trying to keep them cost efficient also to me. And it's just a fun little side project thing to do in between jobs and processes. But this stream is not about that. Not now. In a way, not. But yeah, and I'm still, you know, streaming from my phone because I haven't built my new PC yet. New PC. I haven't built my PC yet. Once I do that, I will be able to actually stream a bit better, use Streamlabs and stuff like that to make the streams as well look a lot better, and have widgets and whatnot, actually get a proper setup going. But this does the trick for the time being, and frankly it is still a million times, leaps and bounds better than YouTube streaming, which always seems to have some issues. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn off notifications. Do that now. So, I'm going to move these out of the way, clean things up a bit, and then we'll move on to destroying that base neck. Those of you not in the know, I'm basically removing the fretboard off of a base and putting in a new one. It is slow, it is annoying, and overall, oh no! Got crap on my shirt. That's not good. I really like this shirt. Now I got stuff on it. Well, I should have known. Working with epoxy and stuff like that, it can get messy real quick. So don't wear your favorite clothes. It's something that I have never learned not to do. Unfortunately, this t-shirt is now. Oh, sorry about that. That squeak is horrible. Yeah, those go in there. That goes in there. This goes away. And I need to dig out the new tools of the trade, so to speak. So, common household iron is the way to go. I'm going to back this up a bit so you actually can see a bit better what's going on. So yeah. This is the base in question. And removing the fretboard is a rather simple process of just heating up the glue and kind of steaming things off. This isn't something that I recommend you do. Especially if you haven't done it before. It can really mess things up if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, this is like my third or fourth time that I'm doing this. It's not fun. It's never a fun process. But yeah, sometimes it has to be done. So basically this neck is gonna get removed. Or neck, damn. This fretboard is gonna get removed and it's gonna be replaced with a nice ebony fretboard. It's gonna have brass frets, so golden frets, and then mother of pearl inlays on the first 3 frets, brass tube slide dots, and yeah, should be good. The thing that made this a little bit more difficult is the fact that this is a neck through base, so it's annoying to say the very least. You can't see my face. Oh God, sorry. Wonder if that's any better. So yeah, it's a neck through, so that already causes issues, because if this was just a bolt on, then it would be so much easier to actually take the fretboard off. And the fact that the fretboard was kind of lacquered in place. So now I've removed the poly from the sides of the fretboard so I can actually get my paint scrapes and palette knives in there. And this is how far I got yesterday. So now I'm just kind of continuing on from where I left off after I kind of ran out of time. Now, brute forcing something like this is never a good option, because you can cause more damage than good, honestly. That's not ready to come loose just quite yet. Oh yeah, and a quick note of warning. When you're heating up frets, they get very hot. So don't lean on the fretboard. That would be very, very stupid and can cause issues. I don't know if that you can actually pick that up, but yeah, I leaned on the fretboard yesterday because I was trying to get a good angle on putting in the paint scrapes. So that was dumb of me. Now you can't actually see that. Let's see. So yeah, just burn marks. Now, the other reason why I'm removing the fretboard off of this is because the neck is just going down a slope that way, or basically from about the 4th fret down, it makes drastic increase of a drop. And I can't fix that because you can't adjust the truss rod because it's completely round. The previous owner had just completely ruined the truss rod, so now I need to put in a new one in there, which I have right here. So a brand new, well-functioning dual action truss rod instead of the thing that's in there that does jack all. Yes, this is a terrifying thing to do. And no, it is not fun. And yes, it does take a long time. All these fun things. If this is the kind of last resort thing to do, then go for it. But I wouldn't recommend doing this otherwise. Not for the shits and giggles, really. Okay, so the glue has lifted just a little bit from over here. That goes all the way through. Now, ideally, you would kind of want to try and do this without the assistance of a mallet, but I'm just using that ever so slightly. To kind of ease my work. With this sort of stuff, you just need to be careful that you're not actually digging into the neck. You'd much rather want to dig into the underside of your fretboard, because that means that any excess fretboard that is getting left behind is stuck on a surface that you're gonna plane or sand flat anyway. I haven't ever really figured out whether steaming is better than just straight up heat. So I'm kind of trying to find a good balance of both. Because I also don't want huge amounts of moisture in this thing. Because moisture and guitars rarely go well together. But hey, how's everybody doing this fine Sunday? We're trying to think of things to talk about while doing this because it can get fairly boring. Let's see. So I have the new build that I did the epoxy pouring just now for. Gonna go to the workshop for it tomorrow. I don't know when the first video that's gonna come out, because next week you're gonna have the spraying at home video. That would have been today, but I just had no time to edit it. So that's where you're getting the live stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, that's where you're getting this VOD of the Twitch live stream. So probably the week after that, maybe? And that's basically the whole build series is just going to be me, or kind of build along type thing. So you're going to be, well, not build along. You're going to be following me build this instead of me teaching how to build an instrument. Because I've done a lot of those videos already, so I thought I'd try something different. gonna need to make some templates, and that's always very annoying. Yeah. So, while that's going, I'm also going to be working on the 7-string. That's going to be another thing that has a deadline. So the 7-string single cut that you've seen around, that has a deadline of February. So I'm going to be working on that at the same time. This needs to be done by Christmas. I have a pretty good idea that I can get through it. I just need to remove the fretboard, clean everything up, cut the fret slots for this, cut the inlays, put in the inlays. Radius. Nope. Glue. Radius. Frets. Fretwork. And we're there. Sounds simple enough, right? This is, without a doubt, the most annoying process of the lot, trying to get this fretboard off. So, I'm starting to wonder whether I can actually get this off in one piece or not, but I'll try. It took a long time for me to actually start getting any results on the back end of the fretboard, but once I get that little bit, then it starts getting easier and easier. The main thing here that is happening is basically the iron is heating up the frets, and as the frets heat up, they heat up the fretboard, and as that whole contraption heats up, it heats up the glue that is holding the fretboard onto the neck. Now, as that glue starts to kind of dissolve again, it makes it easier for me to push the paint scrapers and palette knives and all kinds of stuff through. That is the theory, at least. Now I did this process with my old base back in the day, and I made a video of it. I don't know if I have that. I don't think I have it public anymore, just because the video was, well, needless to say, pretty cringy. I might show it in archives or something like that later, but yeah, that was done like 8 years ago now, I think, and that was the first time that I removed a fretboard. I was doing it on my on my bedroom floor. It's funny looking back at a video like that, seeing how differently you do things nowadays, but to be honest, this isn't that far off from what I did back then. It's actually fairly similar. I have some different tools that I had back then, not many. And I think I was a bit more brute strength with the earlier base than I'm being with this. With this, I'm being careful because it's not my base. So, of course, I'll be careful with it. There we go. Starting to lift a little bit. Though it may not look it, I am actually being pretty damn careful with this. It just looks brutal. Because this is definitely not something that you see every day done to instruments. Not something that you particularly want to see done to instruments either. So, yeah. This is like a bass and guitar torture device, really. But slow progress, getting there. It will remain to be seen how long I keep this stream going for. I might even start calling it quits sometime fairly soon, but I'll keep going for a little bit. We'll make a little bit more progress, and yeah, then I'll probably call it for today, and I'll keep working on this by myself. Oh yeah, and you might have noticed this in the background. So Johnny's bass came in. When he picked up his 5-string, he brought his original he brought his original 3-string here because he had some issues with the barrel jack where it kept on popping the jack out during gigs, so I put a locking jack in there. And it's really cool how this used to be a satin finish, but because he's played it so much, look at that neck. It's like right there, that area, that's completely glossy now. I don't know if you can pick that up, but yeah. Still plays really great. Plays really well if you know how to play the bass. I don't. No. Yeah, I don't know how to play the bass. Not that well. Not this, anyways. Because this is a GCG. So this is a this is usually if you get a drop C bass. So that would be this middle one, and then this is like G that you can't hear, and gives a really low rumble through a PA when playing live. Johnny's certificates of authenticity for both his instruments. There we go. This was a really fun project. I really like the bass. Not to say I don't like the 5-string, there's just a couple of things with it that need a little bit of fine tuning still. You really got to be careful that the paint scrapes don't start following the grain, because then you might end up with a lot of trouble, because you're not removing the fretboard off of the neck anymore, you're splitting the fretboard, which is not something you want. Okay. Have a look. Now I am trying to think of whether I want to take the, of course I want to try and take this fretboard off in one piece, unless it starts giving me trouble. There we go. All right, awesome. Have that in there. There. We're making progress. Very slow progress, but we are making progress. I do need to heat up that fret and see if the steam does anything. Usually, talking about stuff like this, like steaming off fretboards, or steaming off necks that have been glued in. That's a fairly normal thing in some repair workshops. Hell, we've done it a lot, or it was done a few times with Crimson guitars. Twisted necks, had to get those off, so they got steamed off and stuff like that. But I try and avoid using steam as much as possible because that might damage the instrument a little bit by adding moisture to it. I'm not worried about this. I'll be able to get it flat or get the neck straight without issues, I think, as long as I can get the fretboard off first. So yeah, this isn't the most interesting thing to be watching. I think the more interesting thing was with the epoxy pours that we did at the beginning of the stream. So this isn't going to change too much as a process, and it's going to take me still a couple of hours before I can actually pull the fretboard entirely off. So be sure to check the IP Instagram for videos of when I do pull this off. I will be posting that on stories. So at IP Guitars is the Instagram handle. As for everybody watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment down below, subscribe, and go check out the Twitch, because that's where I'm going to be streaming things, and then I'm going to upload the VODs onto YouTube later on. So if you want to interact with me while these streams go on, that's where the chat is. Yeah. And I'm not asking you to subscribe on Twitch just yet because I don't have a proper setup going. This is fairly minimal, and of course I really do appreciate it if you do support, but it's not, something I'm expecting you to do. So without further ado, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to keep at it, and go check out Instagram, on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, and I will see you guys later next week with another video. Thank you very much for watching. It is time to go. Bye bye.